Hello, welcome to another episode of the Oh Baby podcast. My name is Stephanie Poole. I'm a certified lactation consultant and doula. And first of all, welcome. If this is your very first episode, thank you so much for tuning in today. If this is a return episode, thank you so much for the support of the podcast. It means the absolute world to me. If you are pregnant and looking to breastfeed, ma'am, you are in the absolute right place. Actually, today is a very exciting day for the podcast because I'm starting a signature series on the benefits of breastfeeding. And let me just lay out what that will look like going forward. So these will be mini episodes. Most of my other episodes are longer overall, but these will be straight to the point. In my other episodes, I usually start out sharing a little bit about my life and what's going on, maybe some new things, current events. In these short episodes, I am just going to jump right in and talk about some of the benefits. Without further ado, I am going to jump into this one. So today, the benefit that I want to talk about is the fact that breast milk is considered to be nutritional superfood. You can think of it as a baby's green juice. So if you're like me, I love a good cold pressed juice, a green juice. We have a couple different places in the city. I'm here in the Midwest in Michigan. Right now, cold pressed apple cider is really huge just because it's the fall time at the time of this recording. And so there's a lot of different places that sell the superfood. And so getting a fresh, cold pressed green juice is considered to be all the rage in the health community because it's almost like a telltale sign that you care about your health and your wellness. Well, I want you to take that same idea, that same picture in your mind, and I want you to apply that to breast milk. It is, in fact, the green juice, if you will, the superfood for babies, especially newborns. I say that because newborns is the time where a baby is considered to be the most vulnerable. A lot of that has to do with quite a few things, but one of the things that jumps out to me right now is just simply because at the time of birth, a baby's digestive tract is not completed and sealed. It is functional. So they're able to eat and take in breast milk. Our healthy babies are able to do that, and their body is able to digest it. However, their gut is not sealed. And so breast milk helps to seal that digestive gut. But because the gut is not sealed at the time of birth, newborns are especially vulnerable as opposed to an older baby where the gut is sealed. And so we all know how important our gut health is for us. It's the same way for babies. So when you talk about breast milk being a superfood, it just seemed like a no-brainer to start with this particular benefit because it sets the foundation for everything else. I always say you have to understand breastfeeding is simple, but it is not easy. And what I mean by that is you don't need a lot of equipment. You technically just need you and your baby. However, there is a learning curve for you and for a baby when it comes to latching the baby and so many other things that we have to keep in mind when we're breastfeeding. But it's a very, very simple concept. When you have that in mind, if you hit any bumps in the road, you're like, wait a minute, why am I even doing this? To me, the first foundation of breast milk is to understand the function of it because that will help to pull you forward. If you hit any challenges along your breastfeeding journey, it will become your why. Why are we going through the notion to learn how to breastfeed? We're doing it because it's so good for our baby. And the foundation of that is to understand the makeup of breast milk. So very quickly, let me just hop into that component of this episode. So there is two ways to feed a human baby. There is the optimal choice, and this is not my opinion because I'm a lactation consultant, although I am biased towards, not just biased, I am in agreement that breast milk is the absolute best option. It's the first best option that we know of for babies. And these benefits will help to argue that case, okay? But we know that from research. The next option is human milk or donor milk. So we always in the hospital, we always advocate for the mom's milk to be used first. If for some reason her milk is not available or available in enough volume, then we always educate the mom on donor milk, because donor milk, even though it has been pasteurized and sterilized and things like that, there are still certain components of human milk that cannot be replicated in formula, and they offer such great benefit that we always opt for the mom's breast milk first. If hers is not available in enough quantity, then we educate the mom on donor milk. And if that is not an option because of cost, or maybe it has something to do with your own beliefs, then the next option we educate on is formula. So it is in that order: mom's milk first, donor milk second, and then formula as the third option. Okay, so now that we've kind of set that tone, right? It's important to understand the function of breast milk, the mission of breast milk, what is the purpose, and the function and the purpose and the mission of formula. So let me start with formula. Formula is formulated, for lack of a better word, to satisfy a baby's hunger and to help support their growth. That's it. It is there to make sure that the baby is not hungry, does not go hungry, and also to support their growth. And so I think because we start down this idea that breast milk is food, and it is, we kind of stop there. Right? But breast milk is different. Breast milk is not just there to nourish the baby so that they're not hungry. It is not just there to support their growth as a baby. It is there to literally customize a nutritional support for their overall growth, not just so that they can gain and meet their milestones as a baby. It's there to support their overall nutritional health. So even years down the line, your baby taking in the components of their breast milk now will serve them even in their later years. And we'll get into a lot of what those benefits are throughout this series. But it's important for you to recognize, and that's why I kind of picked this one to go first, that the base foundation of formula and of breast milk is different. They are not equal. There are components of breast milk like antibodies, enzymes, antivirals, hormones that just simply cannot be replicated in formula. That's not my opinion. That's data. That's research. There are certain things that occurs and that is present in human milk that is intended for the nurture, the growth, and the overall support of another human, starting at newborn through the rest of their life, that is there in the presence of breast milk. And a lot of those components have not been able to be replicated in formula. And so the function of them is very different. They are both orally taken. They do have some overlap when you talk about vitamins and minerals, but that's about it as far as similarities, because it runs out there with formula and the list just keeps going on and on and on and on when you talk about benefits of breast milk. And so if there's no other takeaway, the major takeaway that I want you to have from this particular episode is just simply that when you decide to breastfeed, it is not just to satisfy your baby's hunger. You are making the choice to literally protect them from childhood and adult chronic diseases and issues throughout the lifetime of their health. And so feeding them breast milk is not just a linear thing like it is with formula. That is a concept I want you to grasp today. Why? Because breast milk is a nutritional superfood for your baby. It is literally the gift that will continue to give and give and give throughout the life of your child as they grow. And so keep that in mind. I hope that this really encourages you to do two things. Number one, to stay tuned for this series. I'm super excited to hop into all of the subsequent benefits from this superfood that we talked about today. And so that you can see the picture really coming together. This is just a bird's eye view of how good breast milk is. But over this series, you will start to see it all come together. And so I'm super excited for that for you. I'm also super excited for you to make that decision that breastfeeding is worth it. It is worth you learning how to breastfeed so that you can provide that kind of support for your baby in the very early days when they are the most vulnerable. And if you are pregnant, and if you are considering breastfeeding, you want to get started, but you're not really sure how to do that, I have two ways for you to work with me. One is with my course, Teach Me How to Breastfeed. It's absolutely phenomenal, taking you step by step by step, showing you exactly how breastfeeding works, what the benefits of breastfeeding are, how to troubleshoot common breastfeeding challenges, and to really jumpstart your breastfeeding journey so that you can build and sustain an adequate milk supply. That information will be linked below. The second way to work with me is by booking a one-on-one intensive. And that is where you and I sit face to face over Zoom, of course. And we educate on a few things. We go over step by step how to start breastfeeding, what you need to know about milk supply. And the bonus of the one-on-one is that you get to ask me directly questions and we talk it out and we get you started on that breastfeeding journey so that you can present your baby with the optimal choice for nutrition and health. If either of those things sound important to you, then go ahead and click the link below and you can explore which option best aligns with your needs. If you know another pregnant mom that could benefit from this series or the Oh Baby podcast in general, please share this content. It helps the podcast and it helps the mom who is in need of the information. If you received something from today, please let me know. Leave a comment or a review. I absolutely am so appreciative anytime I get a DM or a review or anything to let me know that the content I'm making is of value for you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And until next time, happy birthing.